start going live here. Greg, you can hide your video if you're.
I think that's Chris.
No, I see your Zoom video. There we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, all you early viewers in there right now. It's your main man, Archie, host for the Philadelphia 76ers. Welcome back. Hold tight. We're going to get started in just a little bit. We're going to let everybody come into the chat. Hope you guys are doing well on this Tuesday afternoon. After all that good snow fell down, staying warm. Hope you're staying warm out there in this quarantine kind of world. We are back like we never left. Community Conversations presented by PECO. We'll be up in just a little bit, guys, in just a moment. Grab your snacks. Grab your notepads. Grab your pens and pencils. Because we got an expert in the building that's going to give you guys some useful information today. Who knows? Archie might go back to college after this conversation. It's going to be a good time in the community. Shout out to PECO. Keeping Philadelphia energized. Lighting up the world. We appreciate you guys. Keeping our lights on, even through a little snowstorm. Ooh, I'm glad we got this guest today. This expert on college. You guys wouldn't want me talking to you guys about college just by myself. You definitely don't want that. We had to bring in an expert for that. My main man is going to holler at you guys, give you some knowledge, if you will.
Drop some gems, if you will.
Drop some gems, if you will. Yes, sir. Working on a couple more feeds so we can get up on Twitter here. All these social media platforms. We don't want to leave no one out. And we'll be starting in just a little bit. Jonathan, you was about what? Let me say, 22 in that picture?
No, actually, that was just, that picture was probably 2 years ago. But again, I've aged, 10 years over the last 6 months with a newborn baby boy. So I look like that photo, hair a little shorter, but probably 6 months ago. And then I've just
progressively going. Little man keeping you up?
Yes. He likes to turn up at night. So
yes.
I've definitely tried to adjust, but have become a professional napper for sure.
Yeah. That's all right, man. First one, you going for what? 4 years telling me?
I mean, I might be out of the game. Definitely rewarding, but so much just energy and all of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe I'll, once he gets a little older, I'll forget and be like, yes, let's do this again. But right now,
Of course.
we're
Right now, you good.
happy with one. Yes.
See all the early viewers in the building. We dropping gems early already. Not even about the topic, but we giving you some real life information right now. Dropping those gems early. Babies are a lot of work.
Yes. Make sure you are ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you do any fraternities or anything at Brown?
I didn't. I played football and ran track.
Right on.
Yes. So that was exciting. We were 2-time Ivy League champions.
Wow.
I think since I graduated, 10 years ago, yes, Brown has maybe won 10 games since then. So I
Wow.
would say that, with my departure, things have been rougher over there.
Yeah. A little Black History fact for you guys right there. That's amazing, man.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
We didn't, the Ivy League only can't participate in the playoffs. So we're technically AA. So they have the AA playoffs, but we just have our season. So you can be Ivy League champions, but we can't compete for the national championship.
Got you. All right, I think we about to get started in just a second. Oh, we back, ladies and gentlemen, back like we never left. Welcome back to the community. Hope you guys are staying Sixers strong out there. It's Community Conversations presented by PECO. I'm your main man, Archie, in-arena host for your Philadelphia 76ers. And today, we are living in a world where everything is being done online. Zoom meetings after Zoom meetings. Colleges are being done online, everything. Churches, everything is being done online now. But we still want to get you guys prepared for college the Sixers strong way. So I got an expert in the building today because you don't want to hear it from me. So I brought an expert in the building today, a young man who is a former member of Teach for America in Providence, Rhode Island, where he taught secondary math. He has a background in business because he's about his business, organizations because that man is organized, entrepreneurship because he is a boss. From Brown's University, he has his BA, Philadelphia Futures Director of Academics and Young Men's Initiative. I want y'all to make some noise right now. Clap your hands, even if you're by yourself. For my main man, Jonathon Edwards is in the building. Jonathon, good to see you, man.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for being here. Thank you for reaching out and having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're glad you're here because if I had to talk to these people about education, I'm afraid the note section would be very small, man. So we're glad to have your expertise. Now, we got your background in your education, but who is Jonathon Edwards as a human being during this quarantine right now? Let's get to know this man.
Oh, see, I will zone in on me as a human being. I won't even go into the quarantine because I'm still trying to figure that out. But yes, originally from Roanoke, Virginia, was a 3-sport athlete. That was sort of my focus and my identity in high school. Had the opportunity to go to Brown University, where I played football and ran track. Majored in business economics. Brown had an interesting name for it, which is commerce, organizations, and entrepreneurship. Fancy word for business economics. And quickly realized that the direct corporate world was not my strong suit. Right. You kind of find out what you're good at. Yeah. Wasn't necessarily my calling. And sort of got into education. Joined Teach for America, where I served for 2 years in Providence, Rhode Island. And then actually found out through that experience about an organization, City Year. And I came to Philadelphia back in 2013 to work on staff with City Year, which works in Philadelphia schools across the country, essentially to prevent the dropout crisis.
Nice.
After that, yep. After that, I went to Baltimore. I did education consulting for a couple of years, and then found my way back here to Philadelphia with Philadelphia Futures as director of academics.
Nice, man. So is Brown University in Rhode Island?
Yes, yeah, Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay, I that's like one state I haven't been to, so I was wondering what took you to Rhode Island.
Yeah, I mean it is crazy. my sister graduated the year before me, and she played volleyball and sent a lot of her tapes to different schools. So I actually didn't really know that much about Brown at the time, and just sent my tape out to a bunch of random schools.
Yeah.
Not random, but a large net, if you will. And Brown reached out to me then, and that's when I found out about their curriculum, their sort of unique liberal arts approach to education, and that took me out to Providence. I was like 10 hours away from my parents. Perfect.
Nice, nice, man. Not too close, but not too far.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. And I gotta congratulate you. We were just talking earlier. You got a 6-month-old son. Congratulations on that. So not only are you a plant father, but you're actually you're yeah. I see the plants.
To set up the background a little bit.
The ambiance, yeah. Yeah, congratulations on your new son, man. Yeah. So we appreciate your time for being here because we know things are hectic with a 6-month right now.
Yes, every day. You're giving me a break, right? So
hey, right on, man. Appreciate that.
Care of him now. I get a little free time.
Hey, well, John, can I call you John or is it Jonathan?
John is good. John's
okay. Well, welcome to the community, man. Sixers Strong, presented by PECO. Let's jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to get you prepared for college. First question I have for you, John, is how does Philadelphia Futures prepare for a post-secondary education?
Exactly. And so I am going to, there's a lot of nitty gritty, and I'm going to, since I think most of the audience is going to be high school, I'm going to really focus on the high school side. At Futures, we serve students through their college graduation, right? So there are a number of different services and strategies that we use to help students graduate to and through college with minimal debt. But I'm going to focus for this conversation on high school. And before even really talking about the specific levers, I think one thing that we believe at Futures is that there are many students who are able and willing to take advantage of higher education. So many students who are willing to do that, but there's too many who actually aren't doing it, right? And two of those reasons, there are a number of reasons for them, but two of those reasons are the process is not super straightforward. The process can be confusing. Finding out different schools, what schools you're interested in, the actual application process can be confusing. The other piece a lot of times is money, right? So the knowledge around it, the access to different resources for the money, and then just not actually having enough to sort of or feel like you have options, right? Because you might not have a certain amount of money. So Philadelphia Futures really is looking at the big picture at sort of combating those things for students to basically prepare all students to graduate from college with minimal debt. Okay, so that is the overall piece, right? Our mission is we really focus in on students who are first generation to college and low income. The first generation to college piece because presumably if your folks have gone through the process, there's some knowledge base there, right? As far as all the ins and outs and all the different ways that you can kind of get caught up or tripped up in the process. So if that is the broad scale that we're working with students and truly believe that everybody can succeed in college. There is a college for folks which they can succeed and then be prepared to live a more fulfilling life and career. So I'll touch on the bigger buckets of how we do that on the high school side. So the few different components. One would be our programming, so sort of our classes. That's going to range. It's going to cover topics that we say are going to help you be college ready. That is going to range from SAT prep, ACT prep, so the test prep, which we'll talk about how that sort of has shifted with the pandemic. There's the college marathon where students just work on writing their personal statement. A number of our other courses are focusing sort of on the writing piece, because a lot of folks, when you go to college, you'll find out that is the biggest jump that you need to make is with the writing and sort of getting on that level of rigor. College exposure, college trips, college info sessions, career exposure, career days, just really wanting students to know what opportunities are out there that you're just hoping to sort of get a spark as, oh, that's something that I'm interested in doing, or that's something that I could see myself doing in the future. We also offer the financial aid help, so FAFSA workshops, and a large piece is each student has a coordinator, right? I think this was probably, because of all of the things I mentioned, if you're not in Philadelphia Futures, it's a little more difficult to kind of find these different opportunities, but you can do those things. The coordinator piece, so each student has a dedicated coordinator who is sort of, if you think about a high school guidance counselor,
Right.
We are just focusing on, knowing you as a student, knowing what you're looking for in a school, finding a good match, consulting you around that. And it's much smaller caseloads than what you're going to see in most high schools. Our largest caseload is going to be like 50 students for that coordinator.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, before we go any further, how do people get involved with Philadelphia Futures?
So I would say there's two entry points to get involved as a student. So as an 8th grader about to enter high school, there's an application point. Also for rising juniors, there's an application point. That is on the website, so philadelphiafutures.org. You can find out where to apply and all of that. For folks who didn't fall in that range and missed the gap, there is a resource on our website, the Step Up to College Guide, right? And I will come back to that a little later so that people take notes if they are. But the Step Up to College Guide really is a one-stop shop for all of the things and strategies that we're sort of implementing as students with futures that folks can do without actually being in the program.
Got you. Okay, excellent, man. So growing up, when I was getting ready to go to college and I was going on all these college trips and everything, I was not only excited about the education I'm about to get, but I'm excited about the whole college experience. I'm going on these college trips so I can see what the college is actually like, to see if I'm going to like it and enjoy it and have a good time and a whole great experience. But now in 2021, where college right now is pretty much being done online, how do we motivate these young people to even still want to go to college and attempt to get their degree online and not get that whole experience?
Yeah, no, and it is uncharted territory, this pandemic, right? And a couple of things you said really sort of stand out, because when we talk about why college is important, right? A lot of times we go back to career and money, right? Really setting yourself up for the rest of your life. Even zooming out further than that, when I think back on my college experience, it really is sort of in ways, because there's like a lot of talk going around. It's popular to say, college isn't for everyone, and different things. And I don't necessarily like that term, because I think it's a lot more than I can make money without going to college. I can have a career without going to college. For me, again, it represented that first 4 to 5 years of being an adult, right?
Right.
Who am I away from my family? Who am I away from my high school identity, which can be very closed and defined based on just who you've been since you've been in that town or whatever. So you really get to go through that experience of living on your own, of who you're going to interact with, what things you're interested in, what courses you're interested in taking. It is also an opportunity to really redefine yourself, right?
Yeah.
So those components of a lot of those feel like they're sort of lessened when you're just remote, right? But the one thing with the pandemic is it's temporary, right?
Right.
What we know is temporary. You're going to miss some of the community piece. There's just no way around that, right? But as far as the part where I believe you can live on campus, if you can do that, I would highly suggest that, because you're still doing the piece of being away from, your family, like basically people, right? So you can sort of really redefine yourself. But the other piece is the courses and the interests, the clubs and different activities that you're gonna and so that is all still there, right? And so it's the two pieces. One, if you're applying now, there's a good chance that you'll be applying, attending school in the fall, regular. It was definitely tough for folks this year who their entire year was remote. But it's not going to be something that's your entire college experience, and there is still a lot to gain from it. should you decide to take the classes now, and that you're really expanding what you're going to embark and what you're going to study for the next 4 years.
Nice, man. Nice. So I ran into a Amish man and his son once upon a time, and he had his son doing woodwork. They were building a porch for this home. And he had told me that he pulls his kids out of school after 8th grade and just teaches them a craft, and that's what they do for the rest of their lives. And a lot of people say, well, after high school, I've learned all I need to learn. I don't need to go to college. What's college going to do for me? I just learned everything I need for the world. So what's the importance, especially in 2021, what's the importance of going to college? What's important of that post-secondary education?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that, again, that piece of and I encourage people to go away to college if you can, right? And again, it's the piece of sort of being away, and the social pieces, the developmental pieces, outside of just your major and what you're going to do, what you're thinking about doing for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
That is super important. And there's no other way, unless you just happen to have a lot of money and opportunities to travel and sort of just delve into your interests. That is not most people, right? If you're like Kylie Jenner or somebody, then yes, you might not need to go to college, right? You're gonna have those experiences anyway. For most people, those experiences are going to come through college, right? You have this period of time, which is kind of like a bubble. You're not really in the real world, to say. You really can ask those questions and find out who you are. Aside from that, the work piece is, college can't always be looked at as the means to an end to a job, even though that's ultimately one of the reasons you are going, a large reason you're going. I don't want to downplay that. But most people are going to graduate college and work for 45 years. After that. So the work is always going to be there. There is, obviously everyone's family situation is going to be different. And so, I don't mean to not situation when I say the work will always be there, right? You don't need to jump into it right away, but that is true. You will be working probably for the rest of your life, 45 years until you retire. So really taking those first 4 years to really sort of be intentional about what direction you're going to go in. And then just the people that you meet that are not in your regular circles, those things cause you to stretch and grow so much. Beyond, I didn't spend a lot of time talking about just the clear piece. Going to college is going to put you in a better position to be gainfully employed. Absolutely. That you want to do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, I just lost my thought, John. I just lost it real quick, but it's gonna come back to me and say, I'm getting old, Jonathan, man.
It's good. There is another
getting old, man. I had a good thought right there for you, and then it just went away. But we'll come back to it. It'll come back in a second.
Okay.
But during this virtual world and during this hybrid environment we're living in right now, what's some of the challenges that you are finding that college students or people that want to go to college are facing right now?
So a big one that we are looking at now at Philadelphia Futures is the placement test. So we, the SAT, ACT are placement tests that colleges have traditionally used to rank students and help. It's a piece of their criteria to go into your application process. Last year, for the first time since really it's the College Board has instituted the SAT, more students didn't take the test than ever before, right? So colleges were forced to mostly not require the test and use other criteria, right? So that is something that is a question mark, because we don't actually know how schools are they gonna value these tests this year moving forward, and we're kind of waiting to see, because the application process is going on right now with this current this last class. But it in the meantime, it leaves students with a lot of unknowns. They do not know, why should I put a lot of time and effort into studying for these tests if they're not used anyway? I believe that would be great if we valued those tests, because it's statistically been shown that they don't show you who's ready for college. They don't, they're not really an indicator of college success. They are just a sort of test that everyone's taking And so that we can sort of use that as sort of like a line in the sand. That with the personal statement, the writing pieces are the only things that all students are doing under the same lens, right? So until we know for a fact that those things will be valued at Futures, we're still preparing for the test. You know, I think it's good to have an optimistic outlook on the way these systems could sort of do these things and say, yes, in an ideal world, the SAT, ACT are going to be devalued, and we're just focused on these other parts. As a student who is applying to college right now, you cannot, that is the best case scenario. I don't think you can lean and depend on that. So we are still preparing for the tests to have students just put one strong score out there. Once you have that test, you and your coordinator, or you just as an individual student, look at your different schools and you can decide whether or not you want to submit those scores, right? But that's a big thing of confusion. People don't know, do I take the test? Do I not? Futures are saying, yes, prepare as if it will be, you know, until you hear otherwise, you should be responsible and sort of prepare as if you know it will be counted, right? Look at it as an opportunity, right? Not necessarily this obstacle, you know, but look at it as an opportunity to sort of maybe free up some money or separate yourself. But all that said, it could be devalued, hopefully, in which case some students you might have spent time studying for something that didn't actually matter, right? That stuff, I think, you know, obviously there's been a large part of what we do is with the exposure is college trips. Most of those are now obviously going to be virtual trips.
Right.
It's good, but you're not getting like a lot. I encourage people to always visit before you decide to go somewhere, because you might think everything is going on paper and get there and the vibe just doesn't feel right. So that's something that you kind of lose in this space as well. And then finally, the last thing, just in general, it's very tough on, you know, my heart goes out to college students, the high school students who are just kind of trucking through this pandemic. You know, they really didn't miss a beat. They jumped right on the Zoom and we're still in class for, you know, how many hours a day. And so that piece too is that it's very mentally draining. All of the fun things about school and high school, the socialization, the extracurriculars, a lot of those have been yanked away. So it is just a time that students are probably feeling more fatigued than usual about school in general. It's hard to sort of motivate, well, we need you to be focused and we need you to sort of find that inspiration to finish through high school, so then you can go to college, and I promise it's not going to be, it's not going to just feel like more school and constant meetings. Right.
So at Philadelphia Futures, you guys are still preparing for the ACT and the SAT, or getting the students prepared for that just in case. But I heard you correctly. You're saying that if you could, you would just get rid of those tests. Just toss them out the door.
Yes, exactly. Because it is not, again, not an indicator of college success. Right?
And are they talking about getting rid of those tests? Or is it like it's in talk?
So many schools have been talking about it for the number of schools that go to test optional, so who aren't requiring tests, increases every year. So many schools, even before the pandemic, were trending in that direction, and this forced them all to do a year without really focusing on those scores. So now we're just waiting to see how do they bounce back. But yeah, that's sort of how that sort of progressed.
That's good, because I never liked those tests, Jonathan. I never liked those tests. Had me in that classroom preparing for those tests forever. And I don't even remember what the scores were back then, but I'm just thinking right now, if they get rid of those tests, you think I could probably still get a refund? You know, what's the refund policy? You think if I write the government, they give me that back? That's all right.
I mean, they have to, I know College Board, they make a lot of money with the SAT and that sort of thing. So they're going to try to keep it, they're going to do everything they can to keep the test in play. Of course. Again, it is something that has sort of been a barrier to access for many people for reasons other than it's a very specific thing that rewards a certain type of learner, right? So we teach folks to be that type of learner for the 3.5 hours that you take a test. And then you don't ever need to think about that again. Like, you're doing this specific task, the SAT and the ACT are good at measuring your ability to take the
Right.
ACT. So
it is what it is.
it is, yeah.
If y'all just joined us, we're back in the community once again. This is Community Conversations presented by PECO. We are staying strong during these trying times. We are staying Sixers strong. I got my man, Philadelphia Futures Director of Academics and of Young Men's Initiative, Jonathon Edwards, in the building. We just talking about some college preparation. So just to recap a little bit of things, we're going back. If you just joined us now, we talked about the importance of still going away to college. You know, getting out of your comfort zone of your family and your friends and what you're used to, because college is more than just an education. It's the place where you learn yourself. You know, you learn yourself and you take another step towards adulthood, if you will. So it's good to go away to college, and Philadelphia Futures is doing everything they can to help prepare you to get away for college. Starting around the 8th grade?
Incoming, yes, freshmen.
Freshmen.
Starting with freshmen. You can apply in 8th grade.
All right, and give us that website one more time too.
PhiladelphiaFutures.org.
PhiladelphiaFutures.org. You want to sign up and go there, and it's an application process, correct?
Yes.
Go through this application process, and that's amazing. So before we get out of here, Jonathon, advice. We need some advice from this smart young man, African American. Hold on. Happy Black History Month, my brother. Good to see. Happy Black History Month. Yeah, it's good to have you. So advice for those who will be attending college this fall.
You know, it is, again, for folks who attending college this fall, this is an opportunity, again, to sort of like, you're thinking about these are your first adult years, right? You can really define what that is. So for me, I played football and I really hid behind that sort of athlete persona and identity. But, you know, I was a nerd, sort of like, you know, in the closet nerd, right? Like people didn't know that, right? And so I sort of saw my college opportunity as an opportunity to sort of dive into that and lean into that, right? So, you know, I think that is super important to not look at college as just like the phase, but really lean into it as something that you are able to take advantage of, right? Something that you're able to expand your, if you're going to college and you have opportunity to do things like study abroad, do different internships, right? You do have this time when it's okay to experiment and try different things, right? So strongly suggest you fully lean into that and take advantage of that. Yeah, that would be the main piece.
That's amazing, man. Well, look, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at a man right now. I'm talking about myself. You're looking at a man who, this is the before college look. You come out of college, you look like this, baby. come out a little bit smarter. You know what I'm saying, Jonathon?
Yes, yeah.
Well, congratulations again, man, on your 6-month-old. I know you're a busy man. We appreciate you taking the time out to come and join the community. Once again, this is Community Conversations presented by PECO. Next Tuesday, we are back on with a powerful young woman who goes by the name of Sabrina, talking about workforce development, getting you developed for the workforce. Get you prepared for college today, develop for the workforce tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Community Conversations. I'm Archie, the main man, Jonathon Edwards. Anything else you want to give out or say, Jonathon?
No, just thanks again for having me on here. Very, very grateful for the opportunity.
Yes, sir, man. We appreciate you and all your knowledge. You have a wonderful day, man. As always, ladies and gentlemen, stay Sixers strong.
Thank you. Have a good one.
We out, man. Good to see you, John.
Nice to see you.
I think we need some